Jason and Rachel thought they'd found their dream home, a neat two-story colonial nestled on a quiet cul-de-sac in a friendly, tree-lined suburb just outside of Chicago. The real estate agent had called it a family-friendly paradise. Rachel loved the big backyard. Jason liked the privacy fence. They both liked the price. It felt like the place they'd finally settled down. The first night after they moved in, everything seemed perfect. The neighbors came by with cookies and casseroles, welcoming them with smiles that felt so sincere, so normal. But in the middle of the night, Jason thought he heard something in the backyard, a low, scraping noise against a fence. He peered out the window, but saw nothing, probably a raccoon. A week later, Rachel was working late, and Jason was alone. He heard it again, this time louder, a steady scraping, like something or someone was carving at the wood. He flipped on the porch light and saw only shadows. When he examined the fence the next morning, though, he found deep gashes in the wood, like claw marks. He shrugged it off. Maybe neighborhood kids. He'd fix it on the weekend. That Saturday, they hosted a small housewarming party. The neighbors all came, eager to welcome the newcomers. Carol from next door brought a salad, and Bob across the street brought craft beer. They were all so kind, but when Jason mentioned the scratches, the conversation died. Carol gave a tight smile and said, "Probably just squirrels. Don't worry about it." Then she quickly changed the subject. As the days turned into weeks, Jason started noticing things. At night, he'd see shapes moving between the houses, shadows where there shouldn't be shadows. Sometimes, in the middle of the night, he'd hear hushed voices outside, too low to understand, too close to ignore. He'd rush to the window, but by the time he looked, there was nothing there. Rachel said he was imagining things, that it was just the stress of the move. But Jason couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. One evening, Jason was mowing the lawn when he saw Bob watching him from across the street, just standing there. When Jason waved, Bob didn't move. He just watched. His mouth moved like he was whispering, but Jason couldn't hear anything over the roar of the mower. Jason felt a chill as he hurried inside. That night, Jason couldn't sleep. He kept hearing that scraping sound, louder now, insistent. It felt like it was right under his window. Finally, he couldn't take it anymore. He grabbed a flashlight and headed outside. The yard was still, but the air felt wrong, heavy, oppressive. The smell of freshly cut grass was overpowered by something sour and rotten. He followed the sound to the fence. In the beam of his flashlight, he saw the scratches again, deeper this time, almost carved through the wood. He leaned closer. That's when he saw it. A shape crouched on the other side of the fence, low to the ground, its body slick with darkness. Its eyes caught the light and glowed red. Jason stumbled back, his heart hammering in his chest. He blinked, and the shape was gone. He spun around, scanning the yard, but saw nothing. Trembling, he backed away and nearly tripped over Carol. She stood there, smiling too wide, her eyes glassy in the glow of the flashlight. "Everything okay, Jason?" she asked, her voice too sweet. He stammered, I saw." She tilted her head. "Just squirrels, Jason. You're new here. You'll get used to it." She leaned in, her breath sour. "We all do." He tried to laugh it off, but her eyes didn't match her smile. He went inside and locked every door and window. Rachel thought he was losing it. She was always calm, logical. "It's just a new place," she said. "New sounds, new smells. It's perfectly normal to be jumpy." She kissed him on the cheek and went upstairs. Jason sat in the living room alone, the shadows pressing in. That's when he heard it, scratching, but from inside the house. The sound was coming from the basement. His gut twisted. He picked up the flashlight and tiptoed down the creaking stairs. The smell hit him first, a coppery, cloying scent that made his stomach turn. The scratching grew louder, more frantic. He reached the bottom of the stairs and swept the light across the basement. The clutter of boxes and old furniture cast monstrous shadows on the walls. The scratching came from behind a stack of moving boxes. He inched closer, the light trembling in his hand. Suddenly, the boxes toppled over and something lunged out. A shape, small and fast, scuttling across the floor. Jason yelled, the light dancing wildly. It disappeared into the shadows. His heart thudded as he turned to follow it, and froze. Painted on the far wall in something dark and sticky was a symbol, a circle with a cross through it, surrounded by spirals. It looked like it had been there for years, faded and smudged. Jason stepped closer and saw small handprints pressed into the dried paint, like children's hands. He backed away, stumbling over a box. The flashlight fell, the beam cutting through the darkness like a knife. He turned and bolted upstairs, slamming the basement door shut behind him. Rachel found him on the couch, trembling. "What happened?" she asked. But before he could answer, there was a knock at the door. 3 slow, deliberate knocks. He looked at her, his eyes wide. "Don't open it," he whispered. But she was already at the door. It was Bob and Carol and several other neighbors. Their faces were pale and blank, their eyes glassy, their smiles too wide. "Hi there," Bob said, his voice hollow. "Just checking in. We saw the light on." Jason tried to speak, but no words came out. Rachel opened the door wider. "Come on in," she said, her voice distant. They filed in like a procession, one by one, filling the living room with their cold presence. Bob shut the door behind him. The room felt smaller now, the air thicker. Jason's head spun. Carol took Rachel's hand and led her to the couch. "It's time," she whispered, stroking Rachel's hair. Rachel stared blankly, her eyes unfocused. Jason backed away, but Bob caught him by the shoulder. His grip was iron. "You're one of us now," Bob said. "We all are. This place, it needs us. It feeds on us. And now it's your turn." Jason shook his head. "No," he gasped. "No, please." The neighbors closed in, their faces twisted, their smiles split in two wide, stretching to inhuman lengths. Their eyes rolled back, leaving only the whites. Jason screamed. He felt cold hands on his arms, on his neck, dragging him down. The room melted around him, darkness swallowing the walls. He could hear Rachel's voice, calm and empty, chanting something he couldn't understand. The symbols from the basement appeared in the air, glowing and pulsing with sickly light. Jason struggled, but the hands were too strong. His vision blurred. The last thing he saw before the darkness took him was Rachel's face, her smile matching the others, wide, too wide, not human at all. Outside, the quiet cul-de-sac remained peaceful. Lawns were trimmed, flags waved in the breeze, children's bikes lay on the sidewalk. Just another perfect suburban night. But in the house, at the end of the street, a new neighbor had joined the circle, and the darkness beneath the suburb grew stronger. After all, in this place, everyone belongs eventually.